the final paragraph of Voice Beis. And it's explaining the Maila of Gevurah. Number one, without Gevurah, without Tzimtzum, the very profound hashpah that the Mashpia wishes to give, whether we're talking, in our case, rain, which is essentially chesed or some idea, without the tzimtzum, then the recipient is overwhelmed. So Gevurah is necessary to make the hashpah effective. And the water come down not in sheets of water, but in singular and tiny raindrops. But then he added, that's a functional thing. In addition to that, the next paragraph explained that the source of Gevurah is actually higher. And when Gevurah is brought to bear, then the hashpah is with great intensity. And he brought the examples in halacha, or the example in halacha. And hence Yitzchak is va'arba es zaroi. The increase in his seed is dafke Yitzchak because he is Gevurah. Actually, he gave two examples: one halacha from the lung, the other from the tipa in creation. V'oidzos. Now we're up to v'oidzos. Furthermore, right? Clear? Sheyesh ma'ile binyan ha'gevurah atzmo. So there's a ma'ile in Gevurah itself, and in brackets he makes reference to what he said in the previous paragraph. Noisef ala ma'ile ben ageli in hashpah. In addition to the ma'ile that it makes a hashpah effective, constructive, rather than the opposite. Number one, hey mitzat yeles makabel. So what's the ma'ile? Number one, because of the benefit for the recipient. That's the first point we said before. Number two, when it comes through Gevurah, the hashpah is intensified. In addition to those 2 points, the practical and we could say the quantity of the hashpah, when there's chamimus, as he said before, so the zera increases greatly. In addition to that, the source of Gevurah is actually higher than Chesed, notwithstanding the fact that in Ishtalshalus, Gevurah appears lower than Chesed, and that's the general principle. B'chlal, that the lower something is within a system is indicative of its lofty source. The lower, the loftier. So Gevurah, it starts right there with Chesed and Gevurah, that the source of Gevurah is higher than the source of Chesed. It's going to give an example, illustrate that in Eishen Mayim in a moment, but as another illustration from everyday life, it takes much more effort, you're expending much more energy when you don't express yourself than for you to express yourself. To give vent to your feelings is one thing. To have a strong feeling and contain it, so you're not revealing anything, it's an act of Gevurah and Tzimtzum. So for the recipient, they're seeing and getting nothing. But the Metzius is, you are investing more energy in that moment than when you express yourself. It takes a deeper devotion for a parent to discipline their child than to show love when the child is loving and cute. And the discipline, the best, since we're talking about discipline, the most effective discipline is to ignore the child in this moment, and not take it down to their world. Sometimes that's necessary, often not. Parents make that mistake over and over again, and it just aggravates the situation. The child knows they're not getting attention, and you've demonstrated that consistently for certain behaviors, then they just won't do it anymore. Now, the parent, when they're not getting involved, takes more effort than to express themselves with whatever they want to say or do. But for the recipient, the makabel, the child, he says, hell of a hester, tzimtzum, ignoring me. So we see this in everyday life. Ezer, and it's actually expressed in the Mishnah. What does the Mishnah say in Pirkei Avos? Ezer Gibber, who is the mighty one, not the one who expresses, who conquers, who builds, but HaKovish as Yitzray, the one who contains his inclination. That's the true Gibber. Now he's telling us because the source is higher. And we see this in the physical incarnation of fire and water, which we explained. Fire is the physical incarnate of Gevurah. It's a primary element, friction, fire, of our world, kinetic energy. I think that's the appropriate association. Stab in the dark. And Mayim, water, which is the physical incarnate of Chesed. So he says, the nature of fire is to depart upwards. It's as if, not as if, looking at a flame, it seeks to tear itself away from the wick. It's upwards. Where is it going? The Alter brings in Tanya, this is from, I guess the source is Medrash, Kabbalah, I don't know. It's definitely Kabbalah. To its source in the element of fire, which the Alter says is found where? Do you remember? Which explains why fire goes up. That's based on the Rambam too. Tachas Galgal HaYareach. It's below the moon's cycle, orbit, whatever that means. This is a scientific, physical thing. That's where fire is drawn. To its source, above. V'ilu teva hamayim, but the nature of water is the opposite. Sheyordim v'nimshachim lemata dafka, water is drawn downwards. Water will find the lowest place sooner or later. Now, a subtle point which I hope I understand. If you have a better explanation, please share it. Coming up. V'kivin shebemoker hadover. I believe the pshat is as follows here. Since the source of anything, the source has an advantage, and is greater, obviously, than the way the thing descends and is drawn downwards. Clear? That's clear, yes? The source obviously is higher and has a maila over what it projects and produces that descends from the source. Having established that fact, now, how do you move on? Therefore it's understood. Since the very nature of fire is to be drawn to its source, what does that mean? That means that the source of fire is higher than the source of water, chesed, whose nature is to go down. Now I pondered this significantly, trying to understand what he means. I'm not going to share with you all the questions I have on it, but the conclusion that I came to. Since fire carries with it the teva ha'aliyah, the nature to ascend, that means that its source is a loftier source if it can convey that property to that which comes from it. Whereas water which descends doesn't. So the source of water, therefore, does not impart this maila of the source, of the mocker. The source of water does not convey to the water the maila of shayrish, of mocker. Because it's a lower source. And because it's a lower source, it doesn't convey the maila of mocker, of shayrish. Best explanation I come up with. Better one, please share it with me. Okay, fact, you can think about this in your own time. I don't want to confuse by asking you the questions that I had on this statement. But at any rate, the mitzias is that the source of Gevurah is higher. Like we said before, B'nefesh Adam, it takes more energy to contain yourself than to express yourself. It's a deeper investure. On a deeper level, it could be suggested also why the source of Gevurah is higher, because the nature of etzem, of essence, is not to be revealed altogether. We've explained this in the past. Etzem, there's a number of rules about essence. Bilti misgale, it's not revealed. Bilti mischalek, it's not given to the vision. Essence.
But is that Gevurah, or is that just a lack of hashpah? Meaning, Gevurah is still an act almost.
It's speaking about.
Is that Gevurah, or is that just a lack?
No, let me finish my point.
Oh.
First of all, you understand the statement of etzem. I'm introducing this idea of etzem here now. I've been pointing out that Gevurah points to it more because of its lack of gilui. That's what I'm trying to go with this. So the statement etzem bilti misgale, etzem bilti mischalek. Do you know what this means? We've talked about it at length. Let's start with the second statement. Etzem bilti mischalek, essence is not given to division. Everything can be divided. Everything manifested can be divided into smaller parts. It's still what it is. A piece of apple, cut it and cut it, and still look at it, tiny, still a piece of apple. Doesn't lose what it is by making it smaller. But essence, once you get to the essence of the apple, if you divide that, there's nothing left. It's not two halves of something, there's nothing. Tamper with the essence, it's indivisible. And if you split the atom, which is a relative essence, you don't have two halves of an atom, the atom is gone, period, doesn't exist anymore, and then unleashes this incredible energy. That's what bilti mischalek means, right? Etzem bilti misgale, that essence, if you don't understand what I'm saying, stop me. Etzem bilti misgale, this is a statement from Rishonim, Kadmonim, that Siddur quotes, philosophical works. Etzem bilti misgale, essence is not revealed. What does that mean? Anybody remembers how we explain it?
As soon as it's revealed, it's not essence. As soon as it becomes something that's able to be revealed and experienced by somebody else, how could it be essence anymore?
Why not? If the McGill student is listening, why not? You're right, but what does it mean? What do you say? Why not? To put it very simply, etzem bilti misgala, using the atom again as our relative, it's not essence. It's thought to be. But now we know that there's a whole world in the atom and subworlds. But using it because everything is made up of atoms, so it's a relative essence. Everything, all gases, solid, and liquids. I mean, just a different molecular or atomic structure, whatever. The pattern. So if you're looking at something, whatever. So if you're looking at it as opposed to something else, you're not seeing the atom. Because if you're looking at the atom, you can be looking at anything. If you isolate the essence of it, at the atomic level, that could be of a gas, solid, liquid, of anything that exists. Bilti misgale. Not revealed means you can't pin it to a particular revelation. And if you do, and if you're seeing the manifested form of anything, you are by definition not seeing the essence, the atom. You know it's there. It's made up of it. But if you can now train your eyes to under the microscope, you're looking at a piece of paper. Paper. With the physical properties of paper. Under a microscope, ratchet up the atomic microscope and then look at the atom, and someone else say, come look. Oh, they don't know looking at a paper. Looking at the atom, you can't know you're looking at a paper, because that could be the atom of anything. So if you're looking at the paper, by definition, the etzem cannot be revealed. Is that now clear? Or even a simple example. It's all relative. Everything is relative. Explained many times, everything has three levels: the essence, the general identity, and the details. Everything. Etzem, klal, prat. All things. It's a reflection of the divine. And it's all relative how we choose to approach this. It's simple. Human being. There's, on a physical level, or a psychological level, the same model. So even physical, even simpler. Human being, essence, klal, tall, big, large, imposing, a general physical description. Details, and the details of his physical makeup. The same model could be psychologically. Human being, personality type, that's the klal. Essence is human being. Personality type is the klal, and the details are the manifested details of his behavior, etc. His mind and heart, his intellect, his emotions. So if I tell you there's a human being on the other side of the door, that's all you know, that's the etzem. Built in misgalet, that doesn't tell you anything of what the klal is, what the prat is. And if we're engaging the person on the klal and the prat level, we're not engaging him on the essence level. Because he shares that with everybody. It's a given. You're a human being. What's the psychologist or anybody, when you're engaging, I'm not engaging you as a human being, as Yankee, as Yossi. I'm engaging you as in your tzir. The etzem built in misgala. It has to hover in the background, this essential value that every human being has. But it's all equal. It's not this gala, this prat or that prat. So all to say that since etzem gvura is not revelation, it's closer to essence, which by nature is not revealed. Yesh loima. Probably there's a source for this chassidus. Okay, let's go. Right, close brackets. Let's go further. Yeah, clear? You want to ask something or say something?
No, because he said that it's closer to etzem.
More expressive of the quality of etzem.
Yeah, not that it is or has that, because gvura itself is an act. It's also an expression.
But since it's an act of containment,
yeah, but it's closer,
to the truth of etzem that built in misgala. A true father or any relationship is expressed in the gevura dimension of the relationship. It's what you don't do for your spouse that's even deeper than what you do. That's much more not me and you, or much more essential connection. Because what I'm doing for you, first of all, that's easy and natural, and there's a sense of fulfillment. It's about me as much as it is about you. But when I don't do something because you don't like it, and it makes no difference to me, but you just don't like it, and I don't do it, and that helem and tzimtzum, our essential bond is expressed. An example I give all the time is from Manis Friedman. The guys with the boys playing a game, whatever, game of cards. I think he said this motion, I don't know. Maybe he didn't. And he's got a great, I know nothing about cards, mind you. Never played in my entire life. But I just know there's cards and there's a hand and there's in the Jewish home, cards don't belong. There's a clipper associated with it. I don't know details, but it's gambling aside from that, but it's a clipper. So she wants him home at 10 o'clock, he's with the boys, and he's got a great hand. He's going to win the game. It's 5 to 10. Sorry, boys, puts it on, walks out, comes home. Nothing. No. This moment didn't give her anything. There's no giluyim. He just didn't do something. He withheld something from himself because for her space. For her, That's a much expressive of their essential connection, much more than any loving expression could be. Rephrase all of this. Respect is deeper than love. Making space for someone, withdrawing Gvura Tzimtzum, and allowing them their moment, or their identity, whatever it is a deeper, essential connection, much deeper than an embracing one. Lois aseh is deeper than aseh. He's explained in Lent Chassidus and in Tanya, Geras HaTshuva. Mitzvahs aseh draw down various levels of mamala kalalmin. All kinds of things. Lois aseh, soif of kalalmin. Bittul of self, room for God. Room for God. Which is why there's much more lois aseh than aseh. And which is why lois aseh is much more universal in Torah. And mitzvahs aseh are very specific. Men, women, kings, kohanim, levim. But lois aseh is, many of them, most of them are everybody. Because that touches the etzem of the Yid. Or the relationship. So, l'chuda, it's now the explanation why Gvura, which is Helem and Tzimtzum, is higher than Chesed because it's more expressive of the properties of Etzem. And on a simple level, even as I'm talking, this observation occurs to me. For the teacher to be metzamtzem the seichel and give it over to the students is it more expressive of his essential bond with them than if he wouldn't, then just teach it, figure it out or not. Just say it the way he knows it, or you get it or you don't. That because he's mitzamtzem it, that is the Rav and the essential connection. Much deeper. Again, all these examples all point to the same thing. Okay, let's go further. Where's my words? By the number 12. Likewise above, we'll understand, the mile of Gvura more than over Chesed. The nature of Gvura is to constantly escape, as it were, the limitations of the Keli which tether them, like the fire, and to be incorporated within the Eibishter. The nature of the fire is to get out of the way, as it were, leave the wick, and be absorbed within Hashem. So that's much more Him than Chesed, more expressive of Him. So when Hashpah comes from Gvura, it's coming from a deeper place than when it comes from Chesed. We get the general idea for sure, yes? Ois Gimel. In light of it, we will understand the difference between Teresh B'Ksav and Teresh B'Al Dina Yedua, it's known, and we encountered this, or at least I shared this, Teresh B'Ksav Nikras Musar Avicha. Teresh B'Ksav, the written Torah, is called the teachings of your father, but in the Pasuk, in Mishlei. Teresh B'Al Peh Nikras Teresh Imecha. You know the Pasuk, listen my son, Shema B'ni, listen, my child, Musar Avicha, to the teachings of your father. Do not forsake the teachings of your mother. And Rashi explains it from Chazal. It means the Torah, obviously. So why the two metaphors? Father and mother. Because father, Teresh B'Ksav, and mother, Teresh B'Al Peh. So what's the analogy? Like the seed of the father, the drop of the father. The entire child is there. The entire child is there contained in the seed. But it's only in potential, in a very concealed way.
But there you can say that's closer to etzem. It's a helem, it's concealed, it's in this example, or Inyan. It's like the different angle of it.
Yeah, okay, we'll think about that. But obviously the whole emergence of the tippa is the most profound act of expression. Mashpia, she's the makabel. She's mashpia. What is mashpia? Is mashpia something that has bekoich or behelem, tremendous articulation can be extracted from this, but it's an act of ashpah. V'loy b'alei gilui, let's go further, it doesn't become revealed adayin, but the way it is by the Father. Dafka de'shoyse bebeten ha'eim, mem yoim, only after 40 days in the mother's womb, as a naset sir of vlad v'agidul shalei, that's when the form begins and the growth. Yad la'aleida, to the birth, least double from the atzmei, to be an independent child. He's obviously much more praiseworthy, literally, much more beautiful, much more valuable than the way he was as a tippa where all was concealed. The milas were concealed. We'll revisit your point at the end after understanding this. For Yuvans, this will be understood. Another example for this is the drop of ink in the quill. All the letters that are produced by the quill, or all their potential in the quill, they've simply gone from a concealed state to a manifested state. But it's only through this revelation we can understand something intellectual with a combination of letters. Which is not discernible, understood at all in the drop of ink in the quill, in the pen. Another example, the simple sound that the heart produces. Now, I don't know exactly. It's brought always this Inyan. I mean, the sound comes from the vocal cords, but it means the breath of sound, and that comes from the lungs. But what animates the lungs is the heart. But that's what it always says. The curl poshet that comes from the lev, from the heart, the simple sound that comes from the heart. That here too, in a concealed, latent way, are the letters shemisgalim, which then are revealed and take form. The 5 organs of speech, which are tongue, lips,
palate, throat.
It's 2.
Palate. The palate.
The palate. Throat.
Teeth, I think.
I think it's not the teeth. Could be. I'm trying to remember myself. Could be.
I think it is the teeth.
It is the teeth. What? Shinaim. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
To say the word this, you need teeth. You can't say the without teeth. Okay, keep your teeth, boys. They're important. All right, we'll stop here and continue the Beis Hashem tomorrow.